Good morning. I'm Zack Kopplin. I graduated from Baton Rouge Magnet High School last spring, and now I'm a freshman at Rice University. So, Senator Peterson, on behalf of more than 70,000 petition signers, numerous scientists, students, ministers, teachers across the state and country, and on behalf of the 78 Nobel laureate scientists who have joined our effort, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sponsoring this bill, for giving us the opportunity to speak truth to power, and for allowing us this opportunity to stand tall for Louisiana students. Senator Appel and committee members, thank you so much for hearing this bill. So, members of the Senate Education Committee, we are calling on you to repeal the wrong-headed and unconstitutional Louisiana Science Education Act, better known as Louisiana's Creationism Law. This law is an embarrassment to our state, to our country, and to our education system. Never before have so many Nobel laureate scientists taken a public stand against a law passed by a state legislature. These 78 Nobel laureate scientists are the Drew Breeses of science. They are the Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Warren Buffetts of their fields. We should listen to what they have to say. There is no place for creationism in public school science classrooms. Today you have the opportunity to stand with the international community of scientists and educators to assert the integrity of our public education system and to affirm our fundamental rights as Americans to a high quality and equitable education. The Louisiana Science Education Act is recognized as a creationism law around the state, around the country, and around the world. Why? Because it opens the door for the unconstitutional teaching of creationism to be snuck into public school science classes under the guise of letting teachers provide supplemental materials to critique evolution with absolutely no oversight. These supplemental materials will be creationist materials. Creationists have claimed the Louisiana Science Education Act promotes critical thinking. That was the argument when it was passed originally. You're going to hear a lot of nonsense about critical thinking today or about evolution being controversial, but you don't need a law to teach critical thinking in science class. Critical thinking is the nature of science. It is fundamental to the scientific method. You only need a law if you want to teach non-science like creationism in science class. When the Louisiana Science Education Act was passed in 2008, some people told the legislature that this law wasn't really about creationism. They will try and continue this fiction today, but this law's supporters know exactly what was intended. This law has already emboldened school boards like the ones in Livingston and Tangipahoa parishes in their attempts to make creationism part of their curriculum. The Baton Rouge Advocate quoted the Livingston Parish School Board Director of Curriculum, Jan Benton, saying that under the provisions of the Louisiana Science Education Act enacted last year by the Louisiana legislature, schools can present what she termed critical thinking and creationism in the science class. According to the United States Supreme Court, legislation must not result in excessive entanglement of government with religion. This is already obvious entanglement. This law is unconstitutional, and the moment a court rules on it, it will be struck down, landing our state and our school districts with an expensive court bill. Louisiana students do not need creationist supplemental materials to critique evolution. We don't need an expensive court case over an awful law. What Louisiana needs is for our students to learn sound science, and that means the theory of evolution. According to the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the science of evolution underpins all of modern biology and is supported by tens of thousands of scientific studies. It informs scientific research in a broad range of fields such as agriculture and medicine. The Louisiana Science Education Act undermines the most fundamental part of Louisiana's biology education. Take it from the experts, 78 Nobel laureate scientists. Listen to your teachers. The Louisiana Science Teachers Association called this law a dramatic step backwards. The National Association of Biology Teachers and the Louisiana Association of Biology Educators have joined them in calling for a repeal. Listen to the science organizations. The repeal has been endorsed by the largest science organization in the world, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, with over 10 million members. They're joined by many other prestigious organizations. Scientists are against this law, and teachers are against this law. Who do you trust to educate our students in science? And listen to your religious leaders. Some of you may feel inclined to vote against this bill because of your faith, but as Pope John Paul II said, there is no conflict between evolution and the doctrine of faith. That's why the Clergy Letter Project, with over 14,000 clergy members, have joined the repeal effort. Listen to the New Orleans City Council, who unanimously endorsed Senator Peterson's bill because they're tired of losing tourism business from those organizations taking a stand against this law. The Society for Integrative and Comparative Biology pulled a pre-scheduled convention from New Orleans after the law was passed. Other organizations are also boycotting the state. Senator Pell, committee members, I am asking you to stand up for Louisiana students. Louisiana students must learn evolution to have the opportunity that kids in other states and in other countries will have so they can get great educations and great jobs. Nobel laureates know this. Research institutions know this. Major science organizations know this. Colleges know this. Companies know this. They will question our students' science educations because they won't know if we've been taught creationism. They will not know if this law has intimidated Louisiana's teachers into not teaching evolution at all. Committee members, as it stands, Louisiana is setting our students up for failure, putting their educations at risk. Earlier this year, the conservative Thomas Fordham Institute released a report that said Louisiana's science standards suffer from a devastating flaw because of the Louisiana Science Education Act. The report said, the Louisiana science standards are reasonably challenging and comprehensive, but they suffer from a devastating flaw, thanks to the state's 2008 Science Education Act, which promotes creationism instead of science. These standards, especially for biology and life science, are haunted by anti-science influences that threaten biology education in the state. So let's be clear. If you vote against this bill, you're failing our students and compromising their futures. My little sister is taking biology next year. Don't fail her. Let's move forward into the 20th century. I know you are trying to improve education in Louisiana. That's why you're on this committee. So repealing this law is an easy step. I'm fighting for Louisiana students. I need you to fight with me for our state and for our futures. Please don't fail our students, and please repeal the Louisiana Science Education Act. Thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much for hearing this bill.